I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. You silly girl. All right, so let's go ahead and get started tonight. Candidates, I want you to introduce yourselves. If you can think of the alphabetical order or in the order we have here, just say, hi, I'm Dan Johnson. Raise your hand. Dan Johnson, where are you? Raise your hand. All right, all right. Next one, Darlene Lambert, raise your hand. He's back there. Okay. The next one, Linda Gaines, Lines, right there. Matthew Wright, are you here? Matthew's right back there. Brian Moore, in the green shirt. All right. Bob Blakey, over in the corner. Thank you. Kathy Foreman. Forsman, I'm sorry, Forsman. All right. Dan Johnson, again, we already did that. And Brendan.
Brennan.
You got to read the name tags.
It says Brennan. All right. So what we're going to try to do tonight is have an informational thing going on. Shannon Grohl and Dustin are going to talk about the infrastructure bill and the importance of that. And I have them from 7:10, and we're really early. That's cool. So Shannon, come on up. And Dustin. You can applaud if you'd like. There we go. All right.
Hi, everyone. Shannon Groh, Community Development Director for the City of Lewiston. This here is Dustin Johnson. He's the Public Works Director for the City of Lewiston. And thank you for inviting us here tonight to your meeting. We have been asked to talk about the bond measure that's on the ballot next week. So what this is a bond for improvements downtown. This is the same, virtually the same bond as what was in May. However, we have lowered it a little bit because of our partnership with ITD, Idaho Transportation Department. And what they're willing to do at the end near the bridge is ITD right-of-way. And so we've worked with them and they have decided that, yes, they will contribute to this project, and that has lowered the bond a little bit. Some feedback that we've gotten since the May election, and let me just say that the May election was, yes, it did not pass. What we need to have is a supermajority vote win in an election like this. So that means 66%. And in May, it passed but failed 60%. And so it was 152 votes short of being successful. And so the city did some surveys and they said, was asking people, did you vote? Did you not vote? Why didn't you vote? What made you hesitate to vote in favor of this bond measure? And so we learned some things about it. It is somewhat complicated. Whenever you hear the word bond, you think my taxes are going up. In this case, this is a general obligation bond rather than a revenue bond. The difference between the two is a general obligation bond is one where we have to ask the voters to take on debt. And the payment of this is already in the city's budget. So I like to think of it kind of like a mortgage. Most people don't put the full amount of money down on their house. They know that they can afford a monthly payment and they do those improvements. So it's much like that. However, the state of Idaho does require us to put language on that ballot measure that would say, if taxes were needed, this is how much it would cost. We're required to put that language on there. And it's just something that we have to do with the state. That is not the city's intention. The city's intention is to use the existing budget that we have for this purpose. I think I'll let Dustin talk a little bit about the actual project, unless there's any questions so far.
I'll throw one at you real quick.
The two-part question. Worst case scenario. How would the city come back to the citizens and ask for more money? What would that worst case scenario be down the road? And two, so the city, we have the money in the bank right now or in different areas that we can draw from. Is any of that future funding of this issue based on also raising any increments of utility rates to keep on funding it down the road in the future? So it's kind of a two-part question.
So, okay, so there's two worst case scenarios I'm kind of picking up there. One would be we start designing it and our project becomes ballooning out. So, you know, typically in the design phase, we can pull it back or we can secure grants. You know, typically it's the first where you just pull back everything. And then if you change order out money. So there's the preliminary stuff. But let's say I was on the phone this afternoon with Marty Trillhouse, who's going to write about this on Sunday, and I was an hour. So he walks through all these worst case scenarios, and he kind of hit on something that was, so let's say you cash fund this whole project, and so you've saved up for 10, 15 years, so you can finally pay for this project. Then you dump all that money out, and so then you've basically built up your coffers, and you've spent your entire reserve for that one project. And then the worst case scenario would be something happens and you have no reserves. You've spent that money on this Main Street project instead of something up in the Orchard or on Normal Hill. Where this bond allows you've built your payment into your budget, and so incrementally you always have. So case in point, currently the city's got $2.3 million annually into their transportation reconstruction fund. The payment for this just out of the transportation section is 800,000. So whatever that math is, the difference, you've still built that extra in your budget moving forward to take on these other projects. And so as you kind of set these dominoes up, in maybe you pay the bond off earlier in downtown or whatever, you can just start ticking these projects off. So then you finish off the debt and you just keep moving along instead of having these big surges of money in there. And what was the second one?
In the formula to finance this, is there the forward thinking that we will have increases in utility rates just to keep up with the inflation factor of this bond?
You just want to get me chased out of here because I'm the person who always comes and talks about utility rates. So utility rates, and we've talked about this a lot over the past couple of years, utility rates just don't go down. The cost of electricity, gas, labor, equipment, that just continues to go up. And so when I talk about water rates or sewer rates, they say, well, you know, my Avista bill went up. Well, so did ours, and ours is on a huge order of magnitude larger. And so utility rates will go up. Our goal is to set that rate at basically the rate of inflation. So 2.5, 3.5, whatever it ends up being. And yes, that we have a set portion of that utility bill that goes towards capital projects. And so that capital projects are built into that. So that would be a portion in that. So no, there are no utility rate increases forecasted out. Not to say that won't be utility rate increases. Our goal, 2.5, 3% moving forward.
Fine. Thank you.
She said that you currently have the means. You said it was like a mortgage. So I'm making $3,000 a month. I say, okay, I got $1,000 a month I can use to pay the mortgage. Now, as long as I keep my job and get $3,000 a month, I got no trouble with the mortgage. So the worst case scenario is my employer pitches my butt out the door. Now I don't have the money anymore, but we're not really anticipating the city of Lewiston getting fired from anything. Only if there was some horrific event that caused us to lose property tax revenue or sales tax revenue, we have the income stream that would pay for this. Am I correct?
That is correct. So there's kind of a hierarchy of bonds. And so if you remember, we did for the water treatment plant, the wastewater plant, probably 5 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
That was a revenue bond.
Right.
And so we were bonding against future revenues. But for whatever reason, the city of Lewiston could just say, I'm not going to use my water. I'm not going to pay my sewer. It's tax authority, as we say, taxing and death, they're certain. And so that means the city can get probably one of the best rates that are available because taxes are virtually guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's where that's the collateral that's being put down.
I thought so. I just wanted to verify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
So you spoke to in the design phase that you may have a change order, but
boy, in the middle of construction and working, your change orders come fast and furious. What's the contingency for those?
So there's great transition into the project itself. So the project itself is driven by the pipes under the ground. And so that I'm an engineer. I love to talk about utilities, so we'll be here for a couple hours. But the water is 100 from 1910, the sewers from the 1930s, the roads, all those other things. And so where we're at right now, and for this type of a project, the total project's I think roughly $35 million. And so we have reserves, we have we have money from ITD, we have money, and so that's where we've got all that money in the bank to get it down to 22.5 million. But we're not going to proceed ahead with the final design. This is concept level design. So everything it has a contingency built in it. So it's like a 20% contingency. So as we get further down the design and getting into bidding and all the other stuff, we winnow that design or that contingency. So we have a couple $1 million just to say, we know Main Street's 130 years old. We're going to find something.
Yeah.
And so we know that. So we keep budgeting that, and the more uncertainty that leaves the project, the more we can kind of refine that down into a final project, a final design, a final concept, final bid. And I don't want to go too deep in a rabbit hole, but there's ways. Case in point would be the water plant. We didn't just put plans on paper and say, build that to me, because that was the middle of COVID. So what we did was a design build. So we got a team together that was a builder and a designer. And we said, we have $28.5 million. We need it built. And that's what we did. And so that's another way that we could do for cost certainty on the back end. You see a lot of communities doing that now.
If this system is as old as it apparently is, would you care to hazard a guess as to roughly what percentage of the pipes are lead?
None. I can't say zero, but
Really?
yeah, what's really unique about Lewiston was a lot of those communities in the back east. So you hear about outside
Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan, and all that stuff. We don't have lead joints. I'm not saying we don't. The lines that we have on there, we have soldered outside. We have lead in the system, but not touching the water. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's good.
We have galvanized pipes. We have, and there's federal regulations right now. And so we're doing, if you're interested in helping, we're doing a inventory, a voluntary inventory right now to try and identify that. That's a federal mandate. But yeah, right now we've yet to find a single lead pipe in the system.
Will the vaults be filled in?
That's part of the project. Yeah.
Vaults?
So those folks, if you are familiar with downtown, back in the 1800s, early 1900s, the way you got your heating oil or coal was you took your deliveries from either the front or the side door. And so you have these massive vaults underneath the sidewalk, and a lot of them are Main Street, D Street, and all the cross streets. So some of them have been abandoned and filled up, and they're not an issue. Some of them have not. And so some of these buildings that are downtown are somewhat of a liability for both the property owner and the city, because they fall in, and you don't want that on your main street. So we've gone through and we have an inventory. We've gone through with ground penetrating radar and found where the voids are, and working with the property owner. But there's some businesses, Bojack's being one of them, that's their kitchen. So I don't want to take Bojack's kitchen from them. Yeah.
Thank you, Russell.
So I have a question. Assessed value of a person's home, how much is that going to be per $1,000 or per $100,000 or whatever you measure that in?
The current ballot lists at $30.47, and so
year.
Yes,
Per thousand,
$30.47 per 100,000 tax assessed value per year based on current conditions.
So less than $3 a month.
And that is again, that's the collateral that we talked about earlier. That isn't going directly onto your tax bill. That is what, if for whatever reason the city defaulted on their payment for that bond, the collectors could go back and collect that percentage from the property owners.
Nice.
That's the required language that I was talking about, that we, regardless of our plans, we have to have that language
So
from the city.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dustin, question on that. That's $33 per 100,000 for the first year of the bond, correct?
Yes.
As that's bond degradation
Sure,
is
yeah.
smaller.
Yep.
that liability becomes smaller.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And so, and that becomes, and people come and ask me about, the city's financial decisions. And of course, they always go to the bad of what if the city decides not to. The alternative could be that the city's, could pay that bond down faster, which is usually like the URA does that and a few other agencies locally. That's, we don't want debt, but it's a tool that we can use. And so, yeah, paying that down faster means that every year that liability goes down.
But on a 30-year bond, if it's amortized out, you're
That's
$3 per 100,000 on the first year 30.
Yep.
The first year.
Yep.
Year 10, you should be down to a third of the bond debt left, so you should only be on the hook for $11 per 100,000.
Yep.
So you just brought up a good point as far as the URA. Why wasn't that pursued?
The URA, I mean, there is a URA district down there.
Okay.
And so
What's URA?
Urban renewal area. Yes, so there is
yes,
there's a revenue allocation area in downtown. This was reset in 2021. So there is currently about 300,000 in that URA district. So what I'm talking about is the city can create, or the URA can create, revenue allocation areas, and what happens within those is tax increment financing, meaning that when a area is set, the taxes that are collected at that time and given to the agencies are set. The amount that goes up, the increment that goes up, is collected by the URA, and we do improvements. There's a few of them in town. The URA has a plan for downtown, and there are many projects identified in that plan that could be used as a part of this project. But like I said, because it's such a new revenue allocation area, there's not much money in it. But certainly the URA could participate.
Thank you.
You bet. Michelle, you had a question?
So certain businesses downtown have the odor of a sewer leak. Have those leaks been identified, and are we aware of the trouble spots?
oh yeah. I mean, I'm aware of many trouble spots, but the trouble spots keep new ones keep coming up. Yeah, and that there's so many. I can't even start to go down how many problems there are downtown. But the sewer line, predominantly as you get closer to the west end, that sewer line is really deep, and so a lot of times your service line doesn't line up correctly, or you've got roots, you've got all kinds of different issues. And so the service line, if the sewer main is from the 1930s, almost 100 years old, your service lines are also that. And the sewer line will, the pipe thickness is significantly wider than the service lines. And so what you'll start seeing, and that's happening in the water system too, failures start happening on the side stuff before the mains. And so we're already seeing lots of trouble spot, or I call them trouble spots, but odor issues down there where you have backups. And some of that is just maintenance of those private lines where you get roots growing in there and they need to be maintained. Some of it is just you've had so much differential settling that it's a lost cause. So yeah.
So will the property owners have to replace their lines?
Typically what we do on those projects are you go to the property line from, because city can't go beyond that. And so that's usually what we do. And when we go in there, we'll TV all of those service lines, identify which ones are live, which ones are not, and then condition each of those. And then we'll figure out generally where you're at. And then we'll say, we got you to here. You aren't great. Here's what it would cost for you to replace it. Otherwise, you're going to get a better section that's into the main, but you're still going to get stuck with what you've got. And more often than not, unless the building's not being occupied, the building will work with them to try and just make it better. And the benefit of having a project like this, we're going basically door to door, and you're going to have a wide open space. This is going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity to address all of this stuff that's been down there for hundreds of years and fix it and be done with it.
What are the boundaries for the project itself from street level?
Yeah, generally I would say, so Blue Bridge, First Street, well, a little past, so Blue Bridge going west to about 11th. If we want to get a little deeper, all the sewer from everybody on this side of the river drains either down Tammany or Lindsay Creek. And so they come down and they kind of diverge generally through the Tribune's building and between the printing press and their office. And so that stuff kind of on the west side, that needs to be dug up and replaced because it's at capacity. We can do some trenchless works, slip line, some of the other stuff, divert some of the flows on the west side. But everybody who flushes a toilet in Lewiston, unless you're on the other side of the river, uses these lines.
Any other questions? Oh, great. We're 5 minutes ahead of schedule. Love it. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I did bring some information. I'll just leave it over here on the table. It's just a general outline, a little bit more specific on the numbers and figures. So if you want to take one.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll get into the mayor candidate. So Brendan, I'm trying to figure out how to do this because we got more people here than what we thought we were gonna have. So, well, come on up, Dan. We'll have Dan go first. Introduce yourself if you'd like to sit down or stand, however you'd like to do it.
Okay.
Okay, and
2 minutes nominally.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to hurl bricks at you if you run over.
yeah, so he's the timer and he's got a fancy little thing. There's got 4 sides to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think I can do it less than that. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share this evening with you. I do want to thank our Representative McCann for being here tonight. It's good to see our state involved for obvious reasons. And all of you for taking time. Also just comment that this is a diverse and a balanced group. This will be the first group that I spoke with where we probably have folks from both sides of the aisle, both ends of the spectrum. So I really appreciate that. My name is Dan Johnson. I'm running for re-election as mayor for the city of Lewiston. And my reason is that I'd like to continue the good work that we started 4 years ago when the electors said we were going to change from a city manager to a strong mayor form of government. I can tell you that since we made that change, the city has gone through a lot of operational efficiencies. We've streamlined a lot of things. We've made a lot of improvements to our operations, and we have some very positive results that we can share with you, especially in our community development and our public works department, where we interact quite a bit with the development community. Moving forward, I'd like to continue to invest in infrastructure. This Main Street Bond project is obviously a very important project, but we have others. We have the water intake on the north side of Lewiston that we're trying to get accomplished. This is a project that's been lingering for 50 plus years, and it's costing a lot of money, but we're going to have to do that if we're going to put our infrastructure back in place. So I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to make investments in our people. We've done that, investments in our parks. We're doing a lot of new programs there. We have a new director there. So we have a lot of changes that we're making at the city, and they're going to be good for the city. I will tell you that we're very disciplined when it comes to budgets. I'd be happy to sit down with anyone and talk about that. But our property tax budget was 0% for the first 3 years. So that shows you that we're very serious about managing the resources you've entrusted us with. We increased our budget this year. We need to do that, and I'd be happy to talk about that too. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dan. Here, 1. Okay. Darlene Lambert. And George over there will be the timer.
So I'll make this really short, really quick. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a politician. I'm an average, everyday Lewiston citizen, and I am running for mayor because I want to represent the average, everyday citizen. I want to make sure that my parents, my kids, my grandparents, they all can live and afford to live in Lewiston 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road. And right now I don't see that as being feasible. So I want to really buckle down, go through the budget, go through where our spending is, see what we can cut, see where we can maneuver things around so we're being more efficient. I have been taking care of my household finances, my parents' finances for the last 10 years. And my dad's a Vietnam veteran, disabled, limited income. My husband's a veteran. He's also disabled, so we have limited income. So I know how to work within a budget, stretch a budget, and make sure that things are planned for the future.
Right.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Now we have about 15, maybe 20 minutes for questions and answers. If anybody has any questions, answers. All right, and we'll try to, if you have a question, yeah, have a seat. We can say. So if you have a question, a lot of people like to editorialize and go on and on and on. So we're going to allow you 30 seconds to ask a question, and then you'll have a minute, maybe. If it's a difficult question, we'll minute to answer it, or maybe 2 minutes at the most. Okay, first question, Victoria.
For Mr. Johnson, I heard you in another presentation. I'd like clarification of what I thought I heard you say, that you are looking to go back to hiring a city manager or administrator after that was changed with you coming on board. Can you speak to that? I don't remember. I don't know what all you said.
Sure. So during budget, council discussed, when we're talking about salaries for them and for the mayor, the discussion came up about hiring some kind of a city administrator, supervisor / manager. I can't use that word because we changed that form of government. But if you look at most cities in the state of Idaho, our size, they have a city administrator, supervisor that helps the mayor with those administrative duties. And so council said they were interested in looking at that. I said I would consider that option. I'd have to look at that. The difference is that this person would report to the mayor versus reporting to the council.
Easy peasy.
Darlene, would you like to respond to that?
I don't support that idea. I think the citizens voted for a strong mayor and not a city council or a city manager. So hiring somebody else and adding more to the budget just seems frivolous and almost a slap in the taxpayer's face.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes. You are making a certain salary now. Are you going to take a salary cut when you hire the city manager?
That's a good question. So council sets the salary for the mayor, so they can set the salary and I can do what I want with my salary and give it away. And so they discussed that this year about setting the mayor's salary where it's at, whether it's me or someone else. And they did not discuss what they would pay a city administrator if they were to hire one. So that question has not been answered. It's possible that that salary could be cut if you had a city administrator in place.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
That doesn't make much sense.
Excuse me.
What salaries that I saw in the newspaper when you first brought this subject up, that's going to increase the top two people. The salary's going to be horrendous compared to what it is now.
Whose salary?
Both
Who? Tell me who.
you and whatever the manager is that you hire.
So the city administrator's salary and my salary would increase the budget?
Mhm.
Council sets that. I don't set that.
But you want that.
I said I would consider it as an option.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, to have a city administrator, because I can tell you truthfully here, you're not going to find somebody else that's going to want to put the time and the effort into it that I have over the last 4 years, and I will stand by that.
Lovely melody.
Right, turn
There's
that
nothing
down.
in place for it.
Victoria?
So that kind of begs my next question. What is your thinking of wanting to consider it? Is the job too much, too time commitment, too difficult? What is the reasoning to consider an administrator / manager / whatever?
Well, I think one of the reasons is there's an awful lot of administrative type work, so HR work and things like that, that goes with running a city. And I spend a lot of time doing that. That would free the mayor up to go be the mayor, be out in the community and work on other issues.
Such as, what would be freed up for you?
You can go out and you can work on economic development type initiatives, working with different groups, meeting with different groups, being available to the public. There's some of you sitting in the audience here know that I've made myself available to you and that I'm very active that way. If you want the mayor to put in 80 hours a week, then don't hire an administrator.
Kevin?
Let's, if I can maybe move to a little bit different subject, because clearly the issue of whether we have them and how much it's gonna cost. But the city council can decide that, not any one individual sitting in this
So
room.
is this a different topic,
Yeah.
Kevin?
Oh, okay, go ahead. If it's a different topic, go for it.
So to both of you, what do you see the city's role in the homeless situation, the homeless population, or helping the homeless population here in the city?
Good, Brian.
So there needs to be something, but I think that there are groups out there that are willing to do stuff, but they're having to jump through a lot of hoops with the city to get stuff done, a lot of red tape, and I'd like to cut that for them, figure out an easier, streamlined way. And part of being a mayor is knowing where to delegate and have other people work on things, so it frees up your time. And that's part of just being organized and knowing how to manage people. So with other groups that want to step in, that want to do stuff to help the homeless, such as with the tent that was never the warming tent, because there's some hoops to jump through. That's delegating, that's letting those groups and helping them get through the red tape.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for the question. So we did make some changes to our code, which would allow things like the warming shelters to happen. It didn't happen for other reasons. We also, as a council, made a decision to allow the transitional housing happen over on East Main Street, which is supposed to help with young adults that are aging out of foster care. These types of programs. So the city's been very friendly that way. You know, we have incentives within our community development department that would allow those types of things too. So we're not adverse to it at all.
Just a follow-up comment on that, but so both of you don't see the city's role as a direct involvement in homeless population.
Not in a mayor's position, no. It's
So I mean, as the mayor, you're the whole city. So
that. It would be delegating and making the other groups and other places available.
Kevin, one thing I can tell you is that we have had and still have law enforcement that works very closely with the homeless population. We had 2 officers that run a grant program, and one of them, at least today, still maintains pretty close relationship with them. He knows their names, they know their names, and we work with them to help them where we can. So if we have homeless people on private property and we're asked to trespass them, we have to trespass them, but where we can work with them, we do, and we have. We've been very successful.
I got to ask a sort of related question. The number of surveys we've done very informally have suggested that the affordable housing is a big issue. And one of the things I'm discovering when I talk to contractors, people want to build, is that the red tape and the stuff you have to jump through to get something off the ground is a barrier. And I wonder if either one of you has to comment and are willing to make a commitment on simplifying the procedure. If you're going to build a development, you got to put money up front, and you don't get the money until you sell the house. So the longer it takes to do that, the more time you've got your capital tied up, and that's a big problem for contractors. So either one of you want to jump in?
That is definitely something I want to look through and see where the hangups are.
Okay.
And work with the developers to know what it is, to research it and find out this is the majority of the problem. What can we do to change that within legal limits?
Okay.
So we've made a lot of changes in community development. For example, one of the first things we did was we shortened review times. And so when we talk about delays or expense, if we tell someone we're going to take we have up to 28 days to do a review and we take all 28 days, then that's maybe not the best policy. If we can get it done in 14, do it in 14, why take all 28? So we've shortened our review times and we've simplified our code. We've eliminated licensing for some businesses. We've lowered fees for others. So I will defend what we have done as a city to say that we are performing at the top, and I believe that.
I believe in general, but my data is anecdotal, and people don't complain about it if it's really wonderful, and don't complain about it if it's a problem. So,
Any other questions? One in the back. Yes, sir. Mike.
Darlene, I read a comment of yours in the paper recently where you indicated you were in favor, and I think you even said it tonight, you were in favor of the bond issue for infrastructure, but not in, or you were in favor of the project, but not the bond issue. And you wanted to see a different kind of way of funding. I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about what you think those funding options are.
Without actually having all the information in front of me, I couldn't tell you, well, this is where it would go. This is where we pull money from. But I don't think we need to go into debt for something that if there's other ways, there's grants, there's different funding for it, there's money already there. Can we scale back on the project?
I would just say that if Darlene was a serious candidate, she would have those answers because she would have come to City Hall. She would have asked those questions. She would have informed herself. This is a race to be the mayor, and we should have those answers.
Can I rebuttal?
You bet.
So getting those answers from City Hall, next to impossible. And getting a straight answer is next to impossible.
Do you folks that are, you two that, I'm sorry for getting the names. You're the ones that behind all this. Are you guys keeping the numbers that are lock and key, or are you making stuff available?
Things are available if you ask for them.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? We have one, yes. Vicky?
So, the bond is going up for the election, we'll choose, the population will. If it doesn't pass, if we are still gonna be in the hole 100+ years with regard to services down there. What are you going to do? And I'd like to have a little bit more specific from, the new candidate, please.
So it does need, the things need to be done. There's no doubt in it. But the funding for it is, in my mind, there's too many questions of where other money has gone. How much money is there available for it? And it's looking at doing, instead of doing, part of it was the internet, the high fiber internet doing it at the same time. That's going to be obsolete here in a few years. Why are we doing that? That's money that could be taken out of it to back it to, we don't have to have this bond because it'll put it back down to budget. So what are we actually going to do with the bond money?
Why would
Is
you
my
think that
question.
high-speed fiber would become internet obsolete in a few years?
Starlink?
We have any other questions?
That's Starlink, believe me, it ain't fiber.
Okay, can I have just 30 seconds?
You bet, go ahead.
Yeah, so let me just say that the city has looked at other options. So to the credit of our directors over there, the state of Idaho is committed to helping with this project. Okay, that's a recent development. We do have access to grants. And the credit rating at the city of Lewiston is very, very strong, just like the state of Idaho. And we get to take advantage of that and borrow at a low rate. So if the bond doesn't pass, the only option we have right now is to save for it. And that's going to include increases in our property tax budget and possibly the utility fees. It's the only way we can pay for that. State's not going to come in and pay for the whole thing. Federal government's not going to come in. And this is our community and we're going to have to take care of it. It's that simple.
Okay, so we have some people on the internet, online here. And I just want to let them know that they can go to the chat and ask a question, and Kathy will pick up those questions and read them out if we have somebody come and have to do that.
And everybody needs to speak up much louder. Yeah.
If you're having trouble speaking up, we do have a PA system here. I can bring the microphone over and you can have, they'll hear you down the street as well. So
Do we have any other questions?
I have one.
Well, hang on, George. We got a lady in the back there.
That's fine.
So my question for both candidates is, we do have a housing shortage in our community. And it's been documented that we're probably at least, I'm going to be conservative for our directors here, and say 1,000 units that need to be developed just to catch up with our growth since the housing crash in 2008. According to the CETA report, we need at least 117 units being built every year just to keep up with growth, and that doesn't catch us up to the folks who are living in motels because there just isn't enough inventory. So I'd like to know what you personally are planning to do, not theoretically, but like nuts and bolts. How are you going to solve our housing crisis in Lewiston, Idaho in the next 4 years?
Well, I can start by saying that we've been creating an environment where it's getting easier and more affordable to do that. If you go to our community development, public works department, we have made improvements. And if you go there and you don't find them, tell me, we'll get them. But that's about what we can do to make it a business-friendly city and to help move things along at the speed of business, as they say. And we're doing that here. There's a lot of other reasons why people may or may not choose to invest in Lewiston. When it comes to housing, it's a tough issue. It's across this country, across the state of Idaho, but we're not standing in the way.
All right. We have any other questions?
I'd like to hear from the other candidates.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
So part of my ideas were to make it more friendly for people to have rental homes, for people to rent out a portion of their home, maybe a tax credit when you have you rent out a room or a portion of your home. Instead of making it more expensive, it might incentivize other people to be willing to do so that aren't now.
If I can add on something there, about, I guess, approximately 2 or 3 years ago, the city planning department sent a letter to every single person in the city who had a property large enough on which they could install an auxiliary dwelling unit, otherwise known as a mother-in-law unit, and rent it out, whatever, et cetera. And I'm told that the uptake on that was near zero. So it sounds like a great idea. Maybe it's time to try it again, but it didn't work last time, so we're gonna have to do it different this time. Do you have any suggestions?
But what I wasn't aware of that happening, but what was the contingency on that? I mean, when you put another dwelling on, you're gonna get taxed more. So obviously you wouldn't want to go and say, oh, I'm gonna do this and then get taxed more. You'd want an incentive, like a tax break for doing this.
Rental, you'd get income you'd get from renting the unit out.
But that's still, you still get taxed more. And then you still have to deal with
Any housing unit you build any way, shape, or form is going to get taxed. You can have an exception to that rule?
Let's see, there's some more questions from the people here. That sounds like it's gonna be a long-winded question.
Yeah, I'll let it go. You're fine on that, Bob.
At the end of the day.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions?
No. Oh, wait, sorry. Oh my gosh, I fell on the job here. Is there anything that can be done for residents that like basketball? They tore down the basketball court that was torn down at Sunset Park to add more pickleball courts. Is there anything that can be done for them to play indoors?
All right, we want to take that one on.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that we have a new Parks and Rec director, and he's very dynamic. He's very smart. Has a lot of great ideas for the city, and he's gonna be leading the city at some point. He's that good, I believe. And so he's taking a look at our community park. We're trying to get that up and running. We have some steps to go through. He's revisiting some of our other parks for some of our aquatic facilities. Basketballs, we're looking at changes to Airport Park right now. I don't know what the final outcome of that will be, but it's certainly something that I can share with the director. We're putting money into our Fenton Gym, trying to get that open and provide it, have it more accessible. And we've done that. We're making investments in there. So we're doing it, but there's probably always a need for more.
Okay, all right.
That would be something to bring up with Parks and Rec and let them know your concerns on that.
I have one more question here too. What would you propose to bring in more businesses?
So bringing in more businesses would be cutting more red tape, seeing what the problem is of getting businesses to want to come in. Also providing housing for their employees, because if they don't have housing for their employees or they can't build the housing, they can't bring their businesses in. So that it all goes back to going through and looking at what's the hindrance and seeing what can be done to cut that red tape out.
Yeah, I think very simply just trying to create a business friendly environment, and again, we're doing that. We've kept our spending very low here. We've cut back on regulations. We'll continue to do that. One other thing that we're doing is we're working very closely with our economic development partners like Valley Vision. We're trying to recruit and promote the city of Lewiston. We work closely with our partners at the state level, with Department of Commerce and others. We get leads from around the state, and depending on where a business wants to locate, if they need a port, we got a port. Things like that. So we're beating the bushes and working very, very hard. There's a lot of reasons why someone may choose to locate in Lewiston or not. So, but we have a lot of good leads out there, and it's just they take time to mature sometimes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions? All right.
I think it's wrong.
We're gonna cut this off then. Is that right, Mike?
Do you have a question, Jerome?
Yeah, we're right here behind us.
Right here.
Where? I didn't hear.
We just,
Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
we just got done, or not almost done with building the house. Do you have any way that you can streamline that? So it don't take so darn long to get stuff done? And that is one of your problems with housing, because it takes so much to be able to build a house. We even owned the land, and it still took about 3 months to get it turned over so our son could start, our grandson could build a house. And then you gotta go through all the other processes. There must be something that could be done to speed that up and maybe make it more affordable.
Okay, so I appreciate the feedback, Jerry, and I guess here's what I'd say. We have what's called a development review committee that meets on Tuesday mornings, and so you get in one spot, one location to talk with everybody that's gonna have a hand in the development of that home, and they'll tell you where you can save time or how you can do things to make it work for you and to keep your costs down. So that's one way that can do that. Another way is, because I don't know everything that maybe you're facing out in the field, is you can call the mayor. We can meet down at community development, public works, and talk about these things. That's how I learned too, is to get me involved. So.
One way, Jolene, you get one responder?
Cutting the red tape and going through and seeing what the issues are, and like Dan was saying, trying to find out what the problems are, working with the community.
Bob says Jerome wants to say something.
Yeah.
All right, Jerome.
Well, I was gonna bring up the community park, and then it came up right before then. So I'm an unabashed supporter of community park and parks in general, and outdoor activities and what draws people to Lewiston. And I think those things are really important. So I just wanted to maybe drill down just a little bit more on each of your opinions of community park and its future importance and tie to this community. It's one of many, but, and I would also say that folks here brought up a lot of really super important issues in the community. So maybe the parks maybe aren't quite, but I think they are really in our future. Anyway, just quickly on that.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, we've got a large area that we've identified as a community park up in the orchards. It was a tri-partnership with the high school and the college. And one of the steps that the city of Lewiston was required to do was to go through what's called a conversion process. So we took federal dollars out to get that land, and we have to go through a conversion, convert it from agriculture to recreation. And we have to, it's an accounting process, and we have to get that approved by the National Park Service because their money's in this. And I have not committed to building anything on that land till we get conversion done and signed off. That was not done when I started 4 years ago. And it didn't get done for the first couple of years. So we're taking a new direction. We're working with Kathy Muir, who's the director with the Idaho Department of Parks and Rec. Next week, I think she's in town, along with the director, Susan Buxton, next week or the week after. And we're getting closer. Once we get that converted and signed off by the Park Service, which could take time because of the shutdown, the importance of this is not only to develop a plan, what kind of recreation opportunities are we going to have up there, but we also have our other partners up there with LCSC and the high school. So we're talking to them about ways that we can combine and get a bigger bang for our dollars out there. So I met last week with Cynthia Pemberton and Tim Sperber, and have another meeting with Tim Sperber, so we continue to talk about, because they kind of have eyes towards our part too, to see what we can or cannot support. So an example of that, Jerome, would be, we've identified some ballparks in our plan. Well, high school just put some ballparks up there. Maybe we don't need more ballparks up there. We need something else that would complement that. So we're going through it. I hope soon, again, some of this depends on other agencies, that we can get to the point where we can then scope this again and talk to folks and say, we're ready to go. Where do you want to put your money?
Doreen?
The long-term project, that's probably not going to get completed within a 4-year term or even 8-year term. I mean, it's one of those things where it's been approved, people want it, but we have infrastructure issues and we have other stuff that we need to take care of first before we can start doing that.
I do have one question here.
Okay.
What would having the power turned off at the Kmart building help anything? Just saying.
They're paying for it.
Yeah. City not paying for that, are they?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
It's a private company, but
Yeah.
getting it rented out and something else in there would be good.
I believe that question has sort of stumped our panel. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
People on the chat for asking questions.
Okay, we are at the 7:50 mark here, so we're gonna end the questions and answers here with the mayor candidate. Please give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome to stick around if you like, or if you've got some other things, but you can only get more fun from here. All right, so let's have the city council candidates come up here. We had some last minute changes. Cassie, I'm not sure where we're gonna stick you, but we'll stick you someplace for sure.
Okay, wherever.
Maybe down front here if you want.
Okay.
Speaker. Got 7 of you guys now.
Yeah, these meetings. Right there. All right.
Oh.
It's always tied up here.
It's always tight. Yeah, you need that slide.
Everybody tied again.
Right behind. Sneaky.
Thank you, Bob.
I get one share. Sneaky Bob, that called a lot of time.
I meant like stealthy. It's like stealthy, not sneaky. Stealthy would have been. Feels weird. Here's my next.
Everybody's got the right name tag in front of them.
I don't.
I do have the right name.
That's wonderful. All right.
All right.
So let's just see how we're gonna do this. Let's just start Bob and we'll go this way. We'll come down Kathy and then Brendan, you're last.
Okay.
Bob, 2 minutes. Wait a minute, where's our timer? Gee, George, I wonder where our timer is.
Politicking, okay?
Yeah,
Jeez.
I know.
You help around, you can.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Write him up.
Anyway, okay.
All right.
Hello, I'm Bob Blakey and I am running for candidate as the council for the Lewiston city of Lewiston. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and thank you for all the candidates for being here. And Dem Party, thank you for all the work that you've done to put this on. And like you said, it is a bipartisan crowd, which I appreciate the fact that we're going to hear both sides of some of the stories. I spent 8 years on the council. I think that experience is worth something. I think it's worth a lot. I think coming onto the council, and we've heard me say this, the candidates have heard me say this, and they're tired of hearing me say this, but you spend the first 2 years learning how to read the budget. It's too important of a job to spend 2 years learning how to read the budget. Don't waste those 2 years. I have already had that experience. I know how to read the budget. I know what it is to work with the mayor, and I am excited to work with Dan Johnson. Dan Johnson, there you are. I'm excited to work with you because we have a mayor who cares about the city of Lewiston, who cares about our budget, and cares about the employees. He's hard to negotiate with. The fire department will tell you that. But he is looking out for the taxpayers of the city of Lewiston, and I look forward to working with him. I look forward to listening to the public. The 8 years I spent on the council, a lot got accomplished. Some people like to call me Do Nothing Bob. I've heard that one on the internet. That's not the case. We got the URA up and running. URA was in place, but we got it up and running. And we were able to accomplish and still are accomplishing projects, such as the Orchard Sewer Project out there in the east end of those orchards. So important to the city. And the beginning of the downtown URA project, which is only going to grow and become more important if this bond issue passes. So I look forward to being part of this city council, and I look forward to 2 steps forward, not 1 step back. And that's, you've got to be careful. If you're a city, you do not want to be going backwards. My partner and I are originally from the East Coast, and we've seen cities go from vibrant communities to a shell of themselves in a short period of time. We can't let that happen to Lewiston. Thank you, George.
Thank you, Bob. Ryan.
I'm Brian Morey. I'm running for city council because I am working class. I've been working since I was 12 years old, 45 years, nothing but elbows and elbow grease. If there's something that needs to be done in this community, I've been stepping up and helping people as long as I can remember. Met a lady the other night at Jolly Moore's having trouble with her car. She said, "Can you help me?" I helped her. No big deal. Lady tried paying me $20. I didn't want her $20, but then she came in, she gave me a well introduction. There are people here like Jerry, his grandson. I helped him on that house when getting it started, and we did run into some problems, and that's part of the reasons why I'm standing here today. I've got a house I want to build myself, and I'm red tape and having problems with that. We have issues in this city that need to be resolved. Property owners, properties that need to be occupied with commercial tenants in order to offset property taxes to the homeowners. Also, we do have a housing shortage, an affordable housing shortage. We need some multifamily for the young kids to keep them here. We also have the housing issue out here with the teenagers that turn out at 18 that age out. There's a prime opportunity to grab those kids and bring them into the fold and teach them and train them, give them a job, give them life experience, give them what they need in order to have that happen. If that's something that the city council does, great, I'm all for it, I'll help. If it's not, great, I'm all for it, I'm still gonna help. Because that's what I do. My phone rings 24/7. My wife's pretty upset with me right now, but it's okay. I will say this, welcome to the Labor Temple, the AFL-CIO Labor Temple. I am the president of USW 712. I represent 500 members out of Clearwater Paper. I'm a Republican. Got one person that's got that straight now. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to all of you. I'm Matthew Wright. I grew up in cul-de-sac, Idaho, oldest of 6 children. I've lived in Lewiston now for close to 20 years, raising my family here, my wife and our 3 sons. I was appointed to the city council back in January. And since then, I've been learning about how our city works and helping to fix problems that our city has or streamline processes. My vision for this city is that we continue to improve upon the businesses that we're bringing in, primarily focusing in the manufacturing industry because it's important to bring new money into circulation rather than just circulating the same money around the valley. So those manufacturing jobs are extremely important. And it's not just about bringing them in, but making sure that we're protecting the current manufacturing jobs that are here and working with those businesses to give them what they need. In addition to that, infrastructure, replacing our old infrastructure. Downtown is a good example of it, but it's not the only one. There's other infrastructure that needs replaced throughout this town. That's one of my other pillars to work on. The third one is our assets. That includes the parks. We need to be mindful of the assets we have. We need to make sure that they don't fall into disrepair. If they are in disrepair, we need to work to improve those assets. If those assets don't make sense to hang on to, we need to divest of those assets. Doesn't mean we would get rid of parks, just means we would have the parks in the right places, the correct equipment on the parks, etc. But we need to pay close attention to those assets that we have. Thank you very much.
Linda.
Hi, my name is Linda Glines. I've lived here since 1988. I've raised 2 children. I have my daughter still here in town. I have 5 wonderful grandchildren, 2 of which were foster children who were legally adopted. And I'm very proud of my daughter and her husband for taking that on and our ability to help. I work at Opportunities Unlimited. I serve people that are disabled and with developmental disabilities. They are some of the best people you're ever going to meet. These are the people that I want to help make Lewiston better for. Keep funding going for them. To get funding, keeping going for them and helping the citizens with this valley, we need to bring in businesses. I would like to be able to see or understand why we haven't utilized the railroad more to try to get businesses enticed here, push more on the port, use the airport. The airport can be used for businesses to come in here. I also want the council and the mayor and the city itself to be more citizen friendly. I am finding through personal issues and with my neighbors and residents and people just even that live up in the orchards anymore that reach out to me. City of Lewiston's hard to navigate. Citizens, it's citizens, the citizens city. They need to be able to navigate it. So all this talk up here today has been great. Red tape needing to be cut through and so forth, but we need to make it more accessible for the citizens to do what they need to do with any process with the city. I think there is opportunity to look at the budget again. I mean, it's always good to look at the budget constantly. And there's questions with fees and so forth. There's ways to reduce some monies for people. I want to be able to try to help. I am a helper. That's what I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Brandon. Did I pronounce that correctly? Your
Hey, you're
turn.
supposed to go for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What a point, man.
That's why you can go first.
Okay, what, last is sometimes the most impressionable.
Well, save the best for last, all right?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Brennan Leafty. I'm just a regular working class citizen who's lived here since early 2023. I'm a former candidate. I ran in the last election, and I'm looking to run again. I lived here for a couple years now, and this is one of the places that I've felt the most at home. I love the community here, and it's done a lot of good for me. And so the reason that I'm running is because I want to give back to that community. I want to be their voice on the city council. There's a lot of issues I've seen. People in my community are hurting. There's rampant tax issues here that are making it hard for people to keep their homes, keep food on the table. I want to see what I can do to audit where our taxes are going and see what can be cut and streamlined so that the average citizen has more money to live a good life here. I want to cut the red tape and see what we can do to bring more businesses and make it easier to build houses here, make it so that the interests of homeowners is not being steamrolled over by city interests. I want to be the voice here to help restore citizen confidence in their local government and to give back to this community and make it the place that it has everywhere.
Last but not least, Kathy Fordman.
Hi, I'm Cassie Fordman. I'm currently on the city council and I'm running for re-election. I want to continue with economic development. That's my big passion, is to bring more manufacturers and more money into the valley to help offset the taxpayers' money and also bring our budget up to date so that we can continue to fund our infrastructure, our police department, our fire department. A big part of your budget is your fire and your police. They are the ones that, not rightly so, take a lot of that money and for good reason. And so, not take a lot of the money, but they use a lot of that money to protect and keep our citizens safe. So we need to be able to build our budget so that we can sustain our infrastructure and as well as continue to update our buildings, our city buildings. I also was a part of Valley Vision and I reached out to citizens when I first on my first term or first year or so, that asking if citizens felt Valley Vision was worth taxpayers' money. And they didn't feel or knew really what Valley Vision was doing or if it was valuable. And so we put change their management and they got a new director or head in there that's been really motivated and going out there and getting prospects. And now we have seen 2 manufacturers. We have one that's currently out there on the hill, North Four Slides, and then we have Cascade Plastics that's coming, should be breaking ground in, I believe, January. And so I just want to continue that. But I will say, even if I am not reelected, I'm not going to stop, because I don't have to be in that seat to make a difference. I can still talk to the mayor, whoever's in that seat. I can still get down to the fire department, because I have some goals I want to accomplish with them, and I can still meet with them and see those goals happen. And that goes to anyone that's sitting here. They don't have to be in the seat to make a difference within the city. And so I will still do that regardless of where it goes. But I appreciate your time. And if you feel like you want me to still continue, I would like that your support. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So it's gonna be sort of weird to try to figure out how to do this, but if you ask a question, try to think of a question maybe all of them can answer within a minute. I don't know. Or we'll just play it by ear, see how it goes. We have a question.
I have one that will work.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
If elected, what will you do to help the community know what is going on at all the meetings happening? Parks and Rec, Historic Preservation, Library, etc.
Okay, we'll start down here with Cassie and go backwards.
Currently, it is on the city's website. It's on, we have the Facebook page. We have it on our, actually, we've revamped our webpage a lot to make those meetings easier to find, what subjects we're going to be going over. Totally willing to more ideas and how we can streamline that more. I know you can get newsletters. You can sign up for that, so it gets sent to your email directly. So you can, not necessarily what the meeting subjects are, but what's going on within the city. And also reach out to your council member if you have a particular subject you're excited about and want to make sure you know when it's happening.
Thank you. Ren?
Yes, that's a great question, and I believe I already had some good experience in demonstrating my solution to that. For several months, I attended many of the municipal meetings, and I created detailed summaries and minutes for those meetings, and I posted those on Facebook for citizens to view. I have taken a break from doing that because of some things in my personal life, but I intend to get back to doing that, and I intend, if I get into council, to still keep doing that and making sure that citizens in the community, especially online, are informed. And I would also be happy to discuss that with anyone who reaches out to me via email. I believe it's important for citizens to know what's going on. Thank you.
You still remember the question?
Yes.
All right.
So I am on the Parks and Rec Commission, and it is one of the few commissions I do not believe is recorded. We do have people show up. I think there needs to be a little more encouragement. Come up and show up and talk. I mean, we want to see people there. It's open. All the meetings are open. I do not know what the answer is other than more promotion. Go to the meetings. These meetings are open. They want you there. They want your comments. They want to know your ideas. Kind of pickleball people, they were at Parks and Rec commissions there like monthly for like 6 months, making sure the project is going. They're all open. You just need to attend. It's all on the website, like Cassie said. Every meeting's posted, and their minutes and agendas.
Sounds like the basketball people need to start showing up.
Yes.
Right. Matthew.
Yeah, so a couple things. This day and age, a lot of people prefer video over reading, and the city of Lewiston does have a YouTube channel. Most of the meetings that I know of are on that YouTube channel. There could be a couple here and there that aren't, where you need to go read the minutes if you want to know what happened, but the majority of them, it's out on the YouTube channel. From just what can I do myself, I've got a campaign page right now on Facebook, and I've been thinking through the idea of if I win the election, convert that over to a counselor position type web page, and just posting at least my thoughts on the things that I'm dealing with at the time for the city, the committees I'm on, the regular meetings or working sessions, and that just being another venue for people to see what does your counselor think, and you can reach out to me. There's some just behind the scenes stuff, you gotta work that out with the city just because of the law, how the law works with I believe Open Records Act is the one. So little bit of red tape there, so to speak, but if I can get that pulled off, then that would be something that I would do.
Ryan?
So this is something I heard weekly from our union members. And we have 17 different outlets of information and they still go, I can't find it. It seems 25 years ago, whenever you had the Tribune and you had KLEW and you had KMOK, information was easy to find. It seems in this day and age, whenever there's so many different information streams, it's even harder to find. And that's not right. And it shouldn't be. The city of Lewiston belongs to the citizens of Lewiston. And I would encourage that there's a clean and clear feedback page or comment page that's on the home website, if possible, to do that. Facebook page. Like I said earlier, my phone rings all the time. If you got a question, I'll answer it. And if I can't answer it, I'll find somebody that can.
Okay. Bob?
Lots of solutions, and I agree with them all. I think a couple things that we can do better is City of Lewiston does have a person who's in charge of communications. And we can effectively use her even better than we do use her right now. Some of the stuff that the city puts out on a quarterly basis is pretty informative if you take the time to read it. But you got to get the newspaper to get it. Some of it does come in your mail. I would suggest one of the couple ideas that float around my head is your utility bill. Why couldn't there also be a posting of all the upcoming city meetings for the next 30 days in your utility bill? You'll see it. You'll read it, maybe. Did you know that's on Sundays when we list all the meetings at the different municipalities? That's not mandatory. We don't have to put the city meeting in there. We do. We could expand that. We could put Parks and Recs meetings in there. We could put some of that's depending on the amount of space they have available. And I don't know if they charge us for that or not. That's a public service. But there's avenues of where we can do a better job of getting the word out and using the trip. Facebook. I would encourage some of the public pages that we use for TV. So there are a lot of other avenues, but we can do better.
Okay. Question from the audience here. I'm sure you're just all sitting on pins and needles because you all got a good question. Yes, we have one in the back, Kevin.
So I'm gonna go back to the same question I asked the mayoral candidates about city support for I guess I could change it a little bit for the entities that are helping the homeless population now, and what more the city could do in that respect, or in any kind of direct help.
First one to raise their hand gets to go first, and then we'll go this way. Okay.
Okay, so going through the city ordinances, they need to be redone. They are pretty restrictive with the rules on different types of homeless shelters, tiny homes and so forth. So it makes it very hard for people to find locations because they're so restrictive. And I think the best thing to do is go back through and see where some of the restrictions can be loosened or changed, because that's what the problem's been with all of them.
Okay, so this is actually, we did have a committee that focused around homelessness and how the city can get involved. I will say it was extremely difficult with state codes and what they require, federal laws, what they require, what proximities to schools. And that makes it even harder for locations that they can go. But I think really what I would say we learned from that is just to continue to stay in communication and be in support of those that are running this and those that are trying to push for housing for those that are in need, and really listening to them and working. If the location we're looking at isn't working, okay, let's go back to the drawing board and figure out a location that does. And with this past transitional housing for the kids, I was in big support of that. And I feel like that's where you're going to start, is when they're young, is to help them have a good foundation and a good house. So I think that the city can continue to know your people and who to talk to, and make sure that they have your number, and they have my number. My personal number is on the city, so you can call my personal cell phone at any time and I answer.
Brennan.
The homelessness issue is, I believe I am the only candidate that has had a comprehensive plan on how I would like to address that, and I have had that plan ever since I first ran in 2023. It's far too lengthy to really go into detail that much in 1 minute, but I encourage going to my campaign website, which you can find on Google, Lead Deeper Lewiston, and you'll find it right there. On the more simple side of things, I do believe it is very important that we look through what can be done with the municipal codes and cut our end of the red tape that is preventing us from helping these homeless people. This is an issue that is very important to me, and definitely one I'm invested in solving. And those are two avenues that I want to look at. Thank you.
Wow.
Albert Schweitzer one time said, "There's a world of need, and all I have is a teaspoon to dip into to the ocean of need," and that's what I'll concentrate and work on. When I was on the council, one of the projects I was proud of was raising $30,000. The council approved. We found 4 votes for Michelle King's program. That's a step in the right direction. We can do more of funding like that. It's a fine line when you talk about homelessness, because your homes are all probably one of your largest investments, and you want to protect your home. So you always ask the question, what might be built next to your home, behind your home? And you hear so many people say, not in my backyard. But what can the city do? The city has properties. These properties can be identified and properly built, can be used. Again, Michelle King's project is a good example of a park that's going to be reused or recycled. We can do more of that. But I will say one more thing. I keep hearing that it's impossible to work with the city of Lewiston. We can't get nothing built. Yeah. Okay, talk to the half a dozen contractors who have built several hundred homes in this valley, who somehow know how to work with community development and get the job done. A lot of times it's 1 or 2 people who don't want to follow the rules, and those are the ones we keep hearing from. The professionals know how to get it done.
Time.
And I'm going to use 1 more minute. I'll give it. I'll take it
fine.
up. Has anybody taken the time to look behind SEL lately and see what's going on back there? There is a housing project going in there that's going to be several hundred homes, several hundred apartments, homes, townhouses, individual homes, and I bet none of you knew it's happening. Go behind SEL and look over the brim and see the size of that project. There's something going to be done for housing in Lewiston, and it's a big project.
I felt it happening because I work at Schweitzer, so when it on the ground up. I felt it and I know.
So with regards to the unhomed and the homeless that are here, there's several factors that need to be taken into consideration. I have 2 family members who were both attacked in their teenage years and they suffered mental illness all of their lives. And neither one of them wanted anything that was given to them. They were not violent people. They were not people who would vandalize, steal, anything like that. They just wanted to be left alone and live their life their way. Those types of people, I have come to understand, are better off to be a friend to. We all remember the bridge walker, John. He was a great guy to talk to if you ever talked to him. But I was shocked by how many people would say nasty things about him because of his actions. So with that, you have to get to know your population, you have to know their needs, and you have to address those needs on an individual basis. Thank you.
And last but not least, Matthew.
Thank you. All right, homelessness. To discuss this in a minute is a bit difficult. So I'll explain it as simply as I can. When we just bucket this into homelessness, I think we're doing that because it's easy. Help the homeless people. We want to be compassionate, help the homeless people. Well, it's not that simple that it's just homeless people. And I think Brian touched on it a little bit. We need to look at the root cause of the homelessness. And there's multiple different reasons going on. One of the larger ones, I think, in this valley, and you'd have to go out and do a survey of your homeless and find out what do we think those root causes are. But I suspect one is drugs. and alcohol. We can get in front of those kind of things when people are young and help with drugs and alcohol. We can set up programs to help save people from that situation, or if they're in it, pull them out of that situation. But simply just, okay, we're going to build some homes and give the homeless homes. If they've still got the root cause, we're not going to solve the problem. So that there's more to add, but there's no time to add it. Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you all for those words. I really do appreciate your candid sentiment. So I think everybody knows who I am. I'm Michelle King, founder of the LC Valley Youth Resource Center. And so I just want to invite all of you, for those who don't know, the last week of January, we actually go out and personally count the homeless. There was an increase of 50 individuals in Region 2 year over year from the year before. I am responsible for Region 2's count, and if you'd like to be part of the people who go out and learn their stories, then you're welcome to do that. We do make it easy. We're at the community center, the library. You know, it's not like we hang out in laundromats and we give them gift cards for answering our survey, but it's a great opportunity to see them real time. And I just invite every single candidate, if you haven't visited the Youth Resource Center, please do so. But I just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you for those kind words.
I didn't hear a question there, so
No, I didn't.
I'll move on. And any other questions?
I have one that's city county related.
30 seconds, George.
Everything I hear about the relationship between the city and the county leading me to believe that gunfire is going to break out at any moment. That city versus county relations have not been good. My wife's family have lived in the valley for over 100 years, and they don't have anything good to say about it. Are you guys willing to make a commitment to work harder with the county commissioners and the other things to smooth out those relationships so there's a lot less of the back and forthing and other harsher terms I could use?
She's the first one to raise her hand.
Go for it.
And Bob can't answer this question. He already took another minute.
So
Go for it, Kathy.
So we, obviously have a counselor that has now moved over to the commission as a commissioner. We all like working with her. I talk to her all the time. We have an email that I email her. We have no ill intent between us. Commissioner Gish is he's actually working with me on something that I'm trying to accomplish within the city that involves the county. Okay. And so we've been in contact and trying to work towards that. The other commissioners are involved. I don't see that tension. I think that we are.
I'm mostly talking about what I've heard from my 100-year resident and wife and family and whatnot. So
yeah,
good news.
I think we're going in the right direction, and we're really trying to work together for the best.
Okay, thank you. Brandon?
My first loyalty as a city councilor will be to the city itself. So if I feel that what the county is the policy that's trying to do will disadvantage the city, I will push back against that, but I will try to do it in a productive way because I recognize that having the county government still affects us, and having that tension, that's going to impact us negatively. It's going to at some point. So I would still look. I do give my commitment to handle that in the most constructive way I can, so that we can all work together for the better of our community.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay, Linda, how do we get the county and city on the same page?
I'm not seeing where the Hatfields and McCoys by any way, shape, or form. I mean, I will be honest, Hannah Lidke is my friend, and she is my CEO of my employment. And she is probably your best bridge for anything that's going on there, because she has worked with the city. She knows what goes on with the city. She's learning the county. I think that more interaction like that is what's going to keep everything smooth, and she's probably one of the best people for it.
Okay. Matthew?
Yeah. So far, I get along just fine with the commissioners. I could see, from a social media or maybe even newspaper standpoint, how it could look like there's some tension between the city and the county. I mean, on both sides, we're looking at how to save our people money, and sometimes those things can brush up against each other a little bit when we're talking about various contracts and mutual aid agreement between the city and county. just because we may disagree a bit or need to heatedly discuss how does this contract need to change, doesn't mean we don't like each other, doesn't mean we don't appreciate each other. It's just, it's healthy to have serious discussions when we're talking about a serious subject. But
Thank you.
I get along with them just fine.
Right.
So anytime you have negotiations between two entities, doesn't matter what they are, or two parties, you're always gonna have some sort of disagreement at some level or another. How you work through that is the true test of who you are and how you manage the situation. If you go into a room like a bull in a china shop, you're gonna get the same treatment every time. I'm 6'3" and 300 pounds, and it took me a long time for my 5'4", 110-pound wife to get that through my head. Once she got it through my head that I needed to be more kind and more congenial and not that bull in the china shop, I have learned a lot about people. Zig Ziglar is a good one. There's several other ones that are out there that can how to win friends and influence people. And that's what you have to do. Whether you disagree or agree, at the end of the day, you have to be able to shake hands and be congenial to each other whenever you walk out of that room. What's best for the city is best for the city. What's best for the county is best for the county. If there's happy ground, median ground in there somewhere, that's what I'll look for.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Well, we've covered that part of the agenda, just 6 seconds into it, where it says wrap up and thanks for me. And I don't think there's anybody here who wants to hear 5 minutes from me. So what I'm going to do is, whether you're Republican or Democrat or partisan or nonpartisan race or whatever it is, we have a representative in the room here. And I'd like to hear from her.
No.
Representative of the people.
A representative of people, thank you. I wasn't planning to speak. I was here tonight to listen. But thank you.
You guys are, you gotta be on camera, man.
Oh, I didn't want to get in the way of these candidates, but so I'm Lori McCann. I represent District 6, which is a small sliver of Lewiston and Nez Perce County, all of Lewis County and all of Latah County. So some of you aren't able to vote for me, but I hear from you. I hear and I get support. Down in Boise, there's going to be a lot of challenges this next session, but I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to try to help where I can with our citizen. We are a citizen legislature, and we are here to represent your views. You may not always agree with a vote that I take, but I honestly work extremely hard to listen. And that's why I came tonight. I wasn't able to come to the last meetings. I wanted to hear from everybody. And I did talk to Mr. Maury, who I said, so I asked a friend, I think is he a Democrat or a Republican? He's like, he is a Republican, Lori. He's not going to like that. But anyway.
That her work, not mine.
But folks, honestly, I'm a Republican who works really hard to work across the aisle to listen to all sides of an issue. And I think it's really important that our councils, city council, our county commission is a nonpartisan group, that you represent everybody, not your party, not a Republican neighbor or a Democrat neighbor, because we all have issues and we all are part of the city and we're all part of this state together. And so I work really hard to do that and to listen to all sides. So but I'm a phone call away. Many of you I have talked to multiple times. I've worked with Mayor Johnson quite a bit when I'm in session. I work with the county commissioners and I work with city council members. And so Hannah was kind of on speed dial for me when she was on the council, and as well as Mayor Johnson and the council. So or the county commissioners. So, but thank you for giving me a few minutes. I appreciate that. So good luck to everybody. Thank you for stepping up. It's tough to do. And I know I've been in your shoes, and so I'll be there again here before too long, but best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't that more fun than listening to me?
Literature we have from the candidates.
Pardon?
You might want to mention the literature the candidates brought individually.
Yeah, there's some literature over here. Missy has some copies of, what is that, Missy? Explain that.
Information packet for each of the candidates that Patty had created for voter information.
Okay.
There's a sample ballot in there too.
All right. So let's just mingle or leave if you want to, but thank you again, all of you. Yeah.